Grandma, I'm going out. The crisp child's voice was full of vitality and expectation. The young man bowed and said goodbye to the white-haired old woman standing at the door. Shin, do you really don't need me to accompany you? The old woman's voice was slightly low and hoarse. Her face was full of reluctance, and there was a trace of imperceptible pain in her eyes. No, Grandma. I can go by myself. Kid rejected the old woman's kindness. He didn't want the old woman, whose physical condition had deteriorated after the deaths of his son and daughter-in-law, to be overworked, and he was also afraid that she would be hurt by the situation. Then be careful on the road. The old woman opened her mouth, but in the end, she just squeezed out a warning from the corner of her mouth. The young man bowed again, said goodbye, and then turned and walked towards the center of the village. The red and white Uchiha family crest on the back of the slim kimono gradually faded away in the old woman's eyes. Today is the opening day of the ninja school. Uchiha Shin, who celebrated his 5th birthday not long ago, was finally allowed to enroll. In this ninja world where the average life expectancy is no more than 30 years old, you can enter the ninja school to learn various knowledge at the age of 5 to 6. After meeting a certain level of professional skills, knowledge, and practical ability, you can obtain a diploma and become a ninja. The glorious shrimp, is a genin. Although Konoha genin have always been destructive, shrimp-like, and pig-hearted. I have to say, it's quite cruel. Children in the Naruto world definitely don't have a happy childhood. For Uchiha Shin, after 5 years of hard work, he finally got through it. Ninja games or something like that, how could it be fun to experience this wonderful ninja world? Even though the biggest scene is just a few villages fighting each other. It has been 5 years since he came to this world, and Uchiha Shin has been looking forward to this moment all the time. He could see Grandma's reluctance and worry, but he could only ignore it. After all, his Golden Finger Awakening condition is to join Ninja Academy. Without joining Ninja Academy, he can't even see what a system is this. What's more, without the help of the system, he doesn't feel that he can survive the dangerous world for long. After all, just after finishing 3rd Ninja World War, 9 Tails will rebel, and half of the Konoha is destroyed. Lots of Uchiha also died. Izumi Uchiha, Itachi Uchiha's girlfriend's mother also died in 9 Tails rebellion. If you survive that hell, then you will die in Uchiha Clan massacre. So, he need the strength of Golden Finger. Because after training for last 5 years, he already knows that his talent is really bad. Although it is not as bad as civilians, but definitely equals to average Uchiha Clan member. Not like Itachi Uchiha, or Shisui Uchiha, or Sasuke Uchiha, or Fugaku Uchiha. Since Uchiha Shin's parents, 2 jounin of the Uchiha clan, died on the battlefield 3 years ago to earn him milk powder money, he has become the old woman's only relative. The old woman took good care of him as he grew up. She didn't want him to take the same path as his parents, and he didn't want him to go through the pain of a white-haired person giving away a black-haired person again. However, after knowing that the world he was in was the world of Naruto, bearing the surname Uchiha plus System Awakening condition, Uchiha Shin could only pretend not to notice, and chose to step into the quagmire of the ninja world. Snapped. Hey, Shin. Why are you walking so fast? Wait for me. Following a heavy tap on the shoulder, a whirring sound rang in Uchiha Shin's ears. Uchiha Shin stopped and couldn't help but turn his black pupils upward. He turned sideways and glanced at Uchiha Obito, who was still holding his shoulder with one hand and holding his stomach with the other. He was panting like a husky, but looking at him with the eyes of an abandoned little beast. Shin's corners of his mouth twitched. Originally, I wanted to build a good relationship with a future boss, so that if things didn't go well in the future, I could try some paying to survive. I tried to get in touch with Obito Uchiha. However, Uchiha Obito, who was relatively innocent in his childhood, was still a naughty child who was not very popular at this time. Because the two had similar life experiences and Uchiha Shin's active approach, Uchiha Obito instantly treated him as his best friend. Taking advantage of his age advantage of being 1 year older than Uchiha Shin, he often called himself Uchiha Shin's elder brother, patting his thin chest loudly to show that Uchiha Shin was covered by him. Regarding this, Uchiha Shin was stunned and disgusted at the same time. He regretted why he couldn't think of teasing Uchiha Obito in the first place. In fact, yesterday Uchiha Obito came to the door and repeatedly told Uchiha Shin to ask him to report to the ninja school together, but Uchiha Shin pretended not to hear it, said goodbye to his grandma early, and took a detour that did not pass Uchiha Obito's house, just to avoid him. Hey, Shin, you're so mean. I asked you to call me together. Why didn't you call me? If I hadn't went to your house to take a look, I don't know how long I would wait. Uchiha Obito, who finally regained his breath, straightened up and looked at Uchiha Shin, complaining resentfully. I forgot. Uchiha Shin took a step back, let go of Uchiha Obito's hands without leaving a trace, and said casually, You fucking forget. Uchiha Obito, who originally thought that Uchiha Shin would sincerely apologize and that he should act like a big brother and generously forgive his younger brother's mistakes, did not wait for the reaction he wanted. Instead, Uchiha Obito suddenly exploded with such a cold attitude. I went to your house yesterday to inform you for a long time, but you actually forgot. Do you know that I have been waiting for you for a long time? I didn't even eat breakfast, so I waited for you at the door of my house. Hey, if we chit-chat here, we might be late for the school. Seeing that Uchiha Obito was tending to transform into angry lion, Uchiha Shin quickly interrupted him. Otherwise, he didn't know how long he could speak, and his ears would suffer. Okay. Uchiha Obito choked for a long time after being interrupted. He still had a lot of things to say to criticize Uchiha Shin, but what Uchiha Shin said was reasonable, so he had no choice but to compromise unwillingly. Uchiha Shin secretly breathed a sigh of relief when he saw this, and took the lead in walking towards the direction of the ninja school. Uchiha Obito quickly followed. Shin, don't try to change the subject. Any excuse for forgetting is too perfunctory. You must apologize to me, and promise not to do this again in the future. After taking a few steps, Uchiha Obito finally reacted and put his arms around Uchiha Shin's shoulders. He gritted his teeth and threatened to break off our relationship with you if you don't do it. Sorry, I promise. Uchiha Shin secretly screamed that the plan had failed and casually apologized and made a promise. No sincerity at all. Uchiha Obito groaned in dissatisfaction, but didn't pursue it further. Two figures of about the same height walked noisily towards the ninja school under the morning sun, stepping into a life where they were destined to be famous throughout the ninja world.